This is Dave Barker, Minnesota State University Ed Moorhead graduate. We're going to talk now about changing your original assignment, and I am a master at that. I'm not bragging about this because it got me in trouble a lot, but I think the best stories I've ever told are ones that change. And you got to be a good storyteller out there, and a good writer, and a good reporter, a journalist, anchor, field producer, certainly a photographer. You got to change. You're going to get an assignment from your assignment editor. They're going to want exactly what they told you to get. And a lot of reporters will do that. They'll give them exactly what they want. You know what? This is what I did. Let me give you an example here. Back in 2004, first time I was a member of the National Press Corps, following around John Kerry, the Democratic presidential nominee. This is my first day on the campaign plane. Now, my assignment was, he had some new talking points coming out that day. So that's all they wanted out of New York, was just what he said that day, get some reaction from both sides. So I did that. But at the same time, I remember talking to my photographer. I said, this is so cool. Let's film all of this, and that'll be our story tomorrow. So here's the story that, again, we were assigned just to do the normal thing that took 15 minutes, a couple of sound bites from John Kerry and reaction from both sides. But this is the story I fed the next day.
The day begins at 4 a.m., getting my luggage and self from New York to Philadelphia, where I get my traveling national press pass and walk up the riser at the convention center, where Senator Kerry's speech to the National NAACP convention lasts about 45 minutes. As he works the crowd on the way out, we head into the bowels of the convention center, onto a packed elevator full of Kerry's staff and press.
Everybody exhale.
It's only a 1-minute ride, yet some continue working on their laptops. A Kerry staffer fills me in on the day's events. Our relationship with these folks is critical and appreciated.
Craig, thanks for all your help, man.
Hey, it was great meeting you.
All right, you too. We'll see you next trip.
I'm going to be at the airport, so maybe
Oh, are you?
again.
All right, man. We'll see you there.
Down to another floor, an escalator, and to the campaign motorcade, which is a long procession arcing around the massive basement. Those white buses ahead there are how we travel. Almost as soon as we get inside, the motorcade takes off. It's now 1:33 in the afternoon. We move incredibly fast because the streets have been cleared for us. Staffers remind us to move fast at the next event.
Because they're going to be waiting on us, so this is going to be like 2 seconds, bam, we have to be there.
We arrive at one of Kerry's front porch events and head into our press pen across the street, standing or sitting on curbs to take notes.
We'll see you in the future. To you. Is there a lot of door knocking?
As the senator begins to leave, I decide I want to do an interview. I know we don't have much time, and sure enough, in the middle of the interview, I get a very quick rap from a Secret Service agent.
Nick, we got to run back on the bus. Bill, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, congratulations, brother. Sorry.
I can't believe I just held up the motorcade on my first day. Jeez. It's 3:07 now. To the Philly airport and on board the campaign plane.
What's that last name?
Barker, B-A-R-K-E-R.
Okay, 22A.
I'm assigned a pretty good seat, which is very important to some journalists.
It's like a shark feeding frenzy. It's really strange. Everyone's so concerned about what seat they get on, and as soon as the plane stops, everyone leaps up and grabs their gear. And I still can't quite understand why, because we all just run outside and stand on the tarmac for 20 minutes.
And that's exactly what we did after landing in West Virginia. Waited about 20 minutes on the tarmac for the senator's photo op with Charleston, West Virginia veterans. Then onto a feast for our high-definition camera, a beautiful late-day stop outside the state capitol. In the day's fading golden light, it was a confetti-filled, music-blaring, old-fashioned campaign stop. At 9:05, the sun is gone, as is most of my energy. It's back on the bus and the plane and on to Washington, D.C. 11 o'clock, the hotel. And there's no check-in. That's cool. And for the first time since 4 o'clock this morning, I'm finally alone. Alone to do a couple of more hours of research to prepare for yet another big day tomorrow. In high definition, Dave Barker, HD News, New York, Philadelphia, West Virginia, and Washington.
All right, suffice to say, my bosses were really happy with that first story, and then they were ecstatic to see that story coming for free the next day. So again, be diplomatic with your assignment editors. Don't just say, I'm doing it my way. No, I mean, give them what they want, and then give them something extra that you find really interesting and memorable, and hopefully you'll find stories like that too. But by the way, keep your eyes and ears open in all directions when you go to press events, and change your story, change your original assignment. Let me give you an example here that really led to a worldwide thing just from this innocuous event. This was a POW was speaking at an event in downtown Los Angeles one day. Kind of in the middle of his speech, this other true war hero kind of leaned over to me and he said, "Check this guy out." And so I did.
I'm really appreciative today. I've been through a little bit. I was taken at Onlock, Vietnam. I was pretty well shot up by the time they got me, so they weren't getting a lot. I had my wrist shot out, my knee was shot out, I'd been stabbed in the hip, I was stabbed in the forearm, I was shot in the chest. They still wanted me. They were mentioning torture. I had my thumb shattered with a pair of pliers. I think the worst probably that I went through was a hat pin being injected into my nose, and it was heated white hot before it was injected.
He was introduced as retired Army Special Forces Colonel Robert Violette. His message, a painful recollection of 3 years of brutality in a Vietnam prisoner of war camp. Violette was a part of this historic ceremony earlier this summer. He even helped raise the POW MIA flag downtown. It was an impressive show of military pageantry.
God, was I...
But the definite emotional highlight was Violette's outpouring of strength.
And it was through this faith, that's all I can say, my faith and my believer, that blessed me and kept me alive.
An incredible emotional story of survival, but that's all it is, a story. In a 6-week Action News investigation, we have learned this man was never a POW. He never even served overseas. He was never a colonel. In fact, he was never in the Army. The first clue that something was wrong came during this speech and later in an Action News interview. Violet says his injuries kept him from escaping from the POW camp, but that he helped others get out.
I used myself to act as a diversion to get the other men free.
Yeah, how many guys got out?
There was 8 successful escape attempts, and I only allowed 8 at a time. So that was 64 men.
64 got out.
I think I'd have to question that.
Red McDaniel is perhaps the most famous, but definitely the most brutalized POW from Vietnam. We spoke with him via satellite this week.
Exactly how many POWs escaped during the entire Vietnam War?
From North Vietnam, no one ever escaped. From the South, I think we had small groups. Perhaps Nick Rowe, 5 Years to Freedom, escaped, along with a couple others. But to my knowledge, only a handful, 5, 6, 7 people.
This is a list of all of the POWs who returned. This is, you're not on it. You're not on it.
One thing to please remember, I was with a special operations group. On my way back, I was told that a lot of my stuff was classified.
Action News obtained this declassified Defense Department list of the nearly 3,000 POWs and MIAs from Vietnam. Violet is not on it. And the Army nor any POW group in this country have ever heard of him. And this shocking revelation from a man who claims to be a decorated POW, an Army Special Forces colonel.
Can you find anybody on here that you knew? I mean, can you just come up with one name of a person you were with?
Mostly on a first-name basis there. It's been what is it, 20 years has gone by, and a lot more things.
Yeah, but these are people you help.
I know.
You know what I mean.
know.
It's the most emotional experience of your life. And you can't remember their names.
Violet was never able to come up with even one name. And following a long search through veterans, government sources, we finally found the true story of Violet's military career. It has a very sad ending that seems to point to a problem far deeper than the prisoner of war charade. More on that tomorrow.
It was almost bizarre. This guy ended up being a mental candidate at one point, a murder suspect, and never did any of that stuff that he told all those people. So again, that took 3 weeks. And the other story took, 3 hours, the John Kerry thing. So don't worry about what it takes to tell a good story. Just know that you should change your original story assignment from time to time.
rapist? Listen, I think by the end of this, I'm going to be in Topeka.